you don't have to be nervous of the media. What you do need to understand is the media can cause real reputational risk to this brand. It can. What you need to also know is that if you say something, it's out there and there is no action replay. So it's not like a PVR. You can't rewind it or to see the goal. You can't freeze it, you can't forward wind it, you can't erase it. So it's good to be a bit nervous. It's good to always be on your toes because you understand that the reputation of Chiefs is here. You understand that it's your reputation as a player, but not so that the nerves kind of like undo you.
The media training session today with Janine has been great. You know, like we've learned a lot from the session. Hopefully it's going to help us going forward.
It's a great initiative. I think for me it was great fun, you know, to learn about all these things. I mean, growing up as a footballer, you don't get exposed to these things a lot, you know, and we find ourselves doing interviews and you get nervous and you don't know what to say, you don't know when you're saying too much or too little.
The questions that she was asking us, they were very tricky and out of the box, but overall it was a great session.
All of the professional footballers in South Africa should be exposed to, because I mean, in our sport we do lots of interviews every game and all of that, and once it's said, it's out there, you know, so it's good that we have guidelines and people teaching us all this stuff.
It was a good experience and managed to learn a lot from it.
It was a good session, you know, for us. It was a few of the new guys that came to the team this season. So it's something new, you know. I think from our previous teams we didn't really learn about things like this, and I think going forward, this will really help us, you know, in the long run, not only like during our career as footballers, but after football as well. So it's something good for us as players, and I just hope that we could have, you know, learned about these things when we were younger. And I think if we start with the youngsters from the MDC teams and reserve teams from the academies, I think it will equip everyone well.
The one part of the session that I've enjoyed the most had to be the interviews. You know, doing the interviews.
First it was a bit intimidating, you know, and obviously because she's telling you to look into her eyes and, you know, and she throws you with all the questions and all of that, you know, but I think from what we did before that and everything she told us about, you know, taking that into consideration and into the interview, it made it easier.
My one-on-one first sit down with Janine, it was, I was nervous. Yeah, and also as I said, that the question that she was asking are very challenging. But overall, I enjoyed myself.
She was asking nice and simple questions, just that I was a bit nervous. We get to learn more from these kind of sessions, and we get to know how to tackle the questions and what must we say and what we mustn't say from.
When we walked in, you know, she was very intimidating. You know, she looked very scary. But I think once you start to get to listen to her and, you know, get to know her and all the experience she has in this field, you know, you start to open up, and she's actually quite sweet. She's not that scary and she's very helpful, you know, and hopefully in the long run we can continue having these, you know, conversations and experiences with her.
The one key thing I took out from this whole session is to always be honest, you know, because the truth has a way of coming out, you know, and there's always a nice way to say negative things.
The one thing that I think I take away from this experience, you know, has to be how to deal with the media, how to handle myself when it comes to the media.
I'd like to thank Kaizer Chiefs Football Club and Janine and a group for coming with such an idea to come to us and teach us about the interview, and how to conduct yourself.
It really is such a privilege to work with the biggest soccer team in the country, the biggest club in the country. You know, it's quite difficult initially to make an impression because they're busy, they've just come off the field, they're exhausted. So you've literally got to grab them at the get-go, and I do that by being quite intimidating to get them to wake up and listen to me, and then I give them a run for their money. You know, it's almost like they are playing a game with me. But Jaba's got insight into each individual player and what their strengths and what their areas of challenge are. He also has insight that I would never have even if I was a soccer buff. So under his stewardship and guidance, I come in as a journalist, you know, and I ask the questions. I know how to ask targeted questions. And it makes the session so much more exciting because you're asking the players questions that pertain to them. Some questions catch them off guard, and that's done intentionally because that's how the media works.